How are you guys doing? Today is Thursday, September 16th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Wednesday, September 15th. And of course, for this episode, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. And just taking a snapshot of where we are at the season, yesterday was the first Wednesday of group stage for the Champions League matchups, meaning every single team has played by now. Of course, you can say the same about the NFL, as the NFL's second Thursday is actually today as well. College football season's week 3 is about to get underway this weekend. The MLB season is less than a month from ending, while the NBA season and NHL seasons are about a month away from starting. So this is a very exciting time of the year. And without further ado, I'm going to get into Champions League first because this is still the inaugural week of the 2021-22 Champions League season. I'm looking at it by group stages because Tuesday was E through H. Looking at groups A through D, starting with Group A, Manchester City is sitting on top of that group after they were able to beat RB Leipzig 6-3. Leipzig finished as the second best team in Germany last year, but Manchester City scored 6 goals. All of RB Leipzig's goals came from their midfielder, Christopher Nkunku, as he did score a hat trick. But then for Manchester City, they would get they would get a penalty kick from Mahrez. Their fourth goal would be a goal from Jack Grealish. Their fifth was from João Cancelo, Gabriel Jesus. They had a lot of different players that were coming in, so they were able to get their win. With this loss, RB Leipzig is sitting at the bottom of Group A. And looking at the other two teams in Group A, PSG, the runners-up in France last year, face off against Club Brugge, the reigning Belgian champs. And in this matchup would end up 1-1 as a draw. Herrera would get the only goal for PSG, as Vanaken would score for Club Brugge. This would be the first matchup when Neymar, Mbappe, and Lionel Messi scored. Not as disappointing as Cristiano Ronaldo's Champions League debut, but I mean, at the same time, this is a win they expected. So right now, Club Brugge and Paris Saint-Germain are sitting right behind Man City in the table as it stands. Looking at Group B, the reigning La Liga champs, Atletico Madrid, were able to face off against FC Porto. And in this matchup, this would end up in a 0-0 draw, as both of these teams are sitting in the middle of the table. And in the other matchup took place between Liverpool, last year's Premier League runners-up, and AC Milan, last year's Serie A runner-up. Liverpool would end up beating AC Milan 3-0. Their second goal would come from their elite Egyptian forward, Mo Salah. After AC Milan would score the first 2 goals of the game, Mo Salah would even it up in the second half. And then Jordan Henderson's 69th minute goal in the second half would give Liverpool the 3-2 advantage they need. And right now, Liverpool is sitting on top of the table. Atletico Madrid and Porto are sitting tied for second with a point, and Milan is sitting at the bottom. Looking at Group C, the reigning Portuguese champs, Sporting CP, faced off against Ajax Amsterdam, the reigning Dutch champs, and Ajax would end up beating Sporting CP 5-1, as their forward Haller would have 4 goals on the day to his name. Of course, an amazing performance from him. Now Ajax is sitting on top of the table on goal differential. And looking at the other matchup that took place, Borussia Dortmund, Germany's third-place team last year, faced off against Beşiktaş, the reigning Turkish Super League champs. Borussia Dortmund win this game 2-1. Their first goal came from their English midfielder, Jude Bellingham. And, of course, they would end the first half with a goal from their elite Norwegian striker, Erling Haaland. With this win, Borussia Dortmund is now sitting alongside Ajax with 3 points at the top of the table, and then Beşiktaş is sitting at the bottom with Sporting at the moment. Last but not least, taking a look at what's going on in Group D, the reigning Serie A champs Inter Milan face off against Real Madrid. Real Madrid would end up beating Inter 1-0 with their only goal coming in the 89th minute from their Brazilian forward, Rodrigo. So right now they are sitting at the top of the table, and alongside them, Sheriff Tiraspol faced off against Shakhtar Donetsk. The reigning Moldova champs were able to pull off the win as they scored in the 16th minute and the 62nd minute. And with this, they sit at the very top alongside Real Madrid. So right now, that is what the remainder of Champions League is looking like following the very first week of Champions League matchups. And then taking a look at what's going on within the States, starting off with the NFL, I think it's worth starting there. Tonight, the Washington football team is going to host the New York Giants at 8:20. That game will be on NFL Network. Both of these teams are looking to get their very first win of the season. And of course, the team that will lose here will be the very first 0-2 team of the season. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB from yesterday, starting in our nation's capital, the Washington Nationals hosted the Miami Marlins, and in this matchup between the NL East's bottom two teams, the Marlins would beat the Nationals 9-6. They scored 4 of their 8 runs in the top of the ninth to come from behind and do it. They were tied at 6 until Jesus Sanchez hit a 2-run home run that gave the Marlins the win. For the Washington Nationals, the start was given to Josh Rogers. Rogers allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The loss would go to the Nationals closer, Kyle Finnegan. Kyle Finnegan would allow 4 earned runs in 1.1 inning pitch as he struck out 1. He would pick up his 3rd blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's now 5-7. In the Nats batting lineup, their center fielder Lane Thomas went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their shortstop Alcides Escobar went 4 for 6 with an RBI. Their elite right fielder Juan Soto went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their first baseman Josh Bell went 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 27th home run of the year. Their left fielder Yadiel Hernandez would end up going 2 for 5 on the day with a run. And also their second baseman Jordy Mercer would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. For the Miami Marlins, the start was given to Trevor Rogers. He allowed 1 earned run and 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The win was given to the Marlins setup relief pitcher Paul Campbell. He allowed 1 earned run in the 8th inning as he struck out a batter. With these winnings 2 and 3. The save would go to the Miami Marlins closer Dylan Floro. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning pitched as he picked up his 12th save of the season. In the Miami Marlins batting lineup, their second baseman Miggy Rojas will go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Their right fielder, Jesus Sanchez, will go 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. And also their pinch-hitting second baseman, Jazz Chisholm Jr., would go 2 for 2 with a run. Jesus Sanchez would hit his 2 hits were his 11th and 12th home runs of the season. And with this win, the Miami Marlins are now 62-84. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they trail the Atlanta Braves by 15 games in the division. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 60-86. That is the worst record in the National League East as they have now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They trail the Atlanta Braves by 17 games as they are now 1 game away from being eliminated from playoff contention. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Tigers hosted the National League Central leaders, Milwaukee Brewers. The Tigers would pull off a 4-1 win after the Brewers scored the first run of the game. For the Brewers, the loss went to their all-star starting pitcher, Brandon Woodruff. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits and 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this loss, he's now 9-9. In the Brewers batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit, and that will be attributed to great pitching from Detroit. For the Tigers, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Matt Manning. Matt Manning would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits and 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this loss, Matt Manning is 4-6 on the season. The save would go to the Tigers' former American League Rookie of the Year closer, Michael Fulmer. He would allow no earned runs in the 2 innings that he would pitch to finish off the 8th and 9th innings. He would strike out 4 batters on the day, and with this save, he now has 9 on the year. In the Detroit Tigers batting lineup, nobody on the team finished with more than 1 hit. However, their catcher, Dustin Garneau, would end up going 1 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a run. He would hit his 4th home run of the season. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 70-76. That is currently the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. At the moment, they trail the Chicago White Sox by 13.5 games in the division. And with this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 89-57. That is still the best record in the National League Central. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've only lost 3 of their last 10. They sit 12.5 games ahead of the second-place St. Louis Cardinals in the division. And right now, they're holding on to the 2nd seed in the National League playoff picture, sitting behind the 1st seed San Francisco Giants out west. And they're sitting ahead of the 3rd seed Atlanta Braves, who are currently sitting on top of the National League East. Jumping out to Toronto, the Toronto Blue Jays were able to beat the Tampa Bay Rays 6-3 to be able to hold on to their playoff spot at the moment. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Michael Wacha. Wacha allowed 6 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, he's 3-5 on the year. In the Rays batting lineup, their catcher, Mike Zunino, their all-star catcher, Mike Zunino, will go 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 30th home run of the season. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the win went to their starting pitcher, Robbie Ray. He allowed 1 earned run off of 4 hits in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 13. With this win, he's now 12-5 on the year. The save would go to the Blue Jays closer, Jordan Romano. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. With this save, he now has 18 on the year. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 2-for-3 with 2 runs. Their all-star shortstop, Bo Bichette, went 2-for-3 with 5 RBIs and a run as he hit his 25th home run of the year. With this win, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 82-64. They are tied with the New York Yankees for the second best record in the American League East. The Blue Jays have won 8 of their last 10 games as they trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 8 games in the division. At the moment, because they have the same record as the New York Yankees, they are holding on to that second American League wildcard spot. And because they have 1 less win and 1 less loss than the Boston Red Sox, the Red Sox are the first team on the outside looking in because of win percentage, even though they're not even sitting half a game behind the Toronto Blue Jays at the moment. Just to show how close the wildcard picture is, with this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 90-56. That is the best record in the American League East, and that is also the best record in the American League. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games as they sit 8 games ahead of the New York Yankees, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Boston Red Sox. Right now, they're holding on to that number 1 seed in the American League as they sit ahead of the 2nd seed Houston Astros out west, and they sit ahead of the 3rd seed Chicago White Sox, who are currently controlling the Central. Jumping out to Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox, at the end of 9 innings, the score was 3-3. The Red Sox would outscore the Mariners 6-1 in the 10th inning to win this game 9-4. For the Seattle Mariners in this matchup, the start was given to Marco Gonzalez. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The loss was given to the Mariners' 4th relief pitcher on the day, Eric Swanson. Swanson allowed 4 runs without registering a single out, and with this loss, he's now 0-3. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Jared Kelenic, went 2-for-4 with 2 runs. And then for the Boston Red Sox, the start went to Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck would allow 3 earned runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win went to the Red Sox setup relief pitcher Adam Ottavino. He would allow no earned runs as he finished off the 8th and 9th innings, pitching 1.1 innings. He would strike out 2 batters, and with this win, he's now 7-3. In the Red Sox batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their second baseman, Jose Iglesias. He went 2-for-2 with an RBI on the day. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are now 83-65. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 4 of their last 10. Alongside the Yankees and the Blue Jays, they trailed the Tampa Bay Rays by 8 games in the division. But since they have 1 more win and 1 more loss than the Blue Jays and the Rays, their win percentage isn't as high. So they are the first team on the outside of the American League wildcard picture looking in, despite being roughly even with them in the race. They're not half a game behind them at all. Just that's where they sit. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are now 78-68. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They trail the Houston Astros by 7.5 games in the American League West division. They trail the Toronto Blue Jays by 4 games for that second American League wildcard spot. The Mariners at the moment are the 3rd team on the outside looking in as they trail the Boston Red Sox and the Oakland Athletics at the moment. Jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates hosted the Cincinnati Reds. The score would be tied at 4 going into the bottom of the 9th, and it would be Colin Moran grounding out, Wilmer Difo coming home to score. That would give the Pirates their 54th win of the season. For the Cincinnati Reds, the start was given to Vladimir Gutierrez. He allowed 4 earned runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter on the day. The loss was given to the Reds closer Michael Givens. He allowed one earned run in .2 innings pitched as he was unable to finish the ninth. With this loss, he's 3-3. In the Reds batting lineup, nobody on the team finished with more than one hit. However, their shortstop Kyle Farmer went 1-for-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 14th home run of the season. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start was given to Mitch Keller. Keller would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits and 5 innings pitched as he struck out 3. The win was given to the Pirates closer for the day, Chris Stratton. He would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out 2. With this win, he's 6-1. In the Pirates batting lineup, their right fielder, Yoshi Tsutsugo, would go 2-for-3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Also, their center fielder, Brian Reynolds, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run for himself. With this win, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 54-91. That is the worst record in the National League Central. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 34.5 games in the division, and they are one of 2 teams in the National League who have been eliminated from playoff contention as they sit alongside the Arizona Diamondbacks. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 75-71. That is the 3rd best record in the National League Central as the Reds have lost their last 4 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. Their 4-game losing streak is currently the worst in baseball at the moment. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 14 games in the division. They trailed the St. Louis Cardinals by a game and a half for that 2nd National League wildcard spot. At this moment, the Reds are the 2nd team on the outside of the National League wildcard picture looking in, as they also trail the San Diego Padres. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Chicago Cubs, and the Phillies were able to beat the Cubs 6-5. The Cubs would tie the game at 5 in the top of the 9th, and then after Robinson Chirinos would let the ball pass, Andrew Knapp scored for Philly to walk it off. For the Chicago Cubs, the start was given to Alec Mills. He allowed 4 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4 on the day. The loss was given to the Cubs closer for the day, Trevor Megill. Trevor Megill allowed 1 run in .2 innings pitched. With this loss, he's now 1-2 on the season. In the Cubs batting lineup, their third baseman Matt Duffy went 3-for-5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would hit his 4th home run of the season. Their first baseman Frank Schwindel went 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 13th home run of the year. For the Philadelphia Phillies, their starting pitcher was Ranger Suarez. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits and 6 innings pitched, striking out 8. The win would go to the Phillies closer Ian Kennedy. Ian Kennedy would allow 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. This would be his 4th blown save of the season, and with this win, he's now 2-1. This was his 2nd win. In the Phillies batting lineup, their elite right fielder Bryce Harper went 2-for-3 with a run. Their first baseman JT Realmuto went 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their all-star first baseman. Their third baseman, Freddie Galvis, went 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 13th home run of the season. Also, Realmuto hit his 15th home run of the season. And then their catcher, Andrew Knapp, would go 2-for-4 with a run. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 73-72. That is the 2nd best record in the National League East. They've won 4 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the Atlanta Braves by 3.5 games in the division. And they also trail the St. Louis Cardinals by 3 games for that 2nd wildcard spot, as the Phillies are the 3rd team on the outside of the National League looking in, as they trail the San Diego Padres and the Cincinnati Reds as well. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 66-80. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central as they've lost 5 of their last 10. They trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 21 games in the division at the moment. Jumping out to Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles host the New York Yankees. Going into the top of the 9th, the Orioles were leading 3-2. The Yankees would score 2 runs at the top of the 9th thanks to a 2-run single from Brett Gardner, and they would come away with win number 82, which would be very important for them. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start went to John Means. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss would go to the Orioles' the third relief pitcher on the day, Tyler Wells. Wells allowed 2 earned runs in .1 inning pitched as he would not finish the 9th. He would pick up his 3rd blown save of the season, and with this loss, he's 2-3. In the Orioles batting lineup, their right fielder Austin Hayes went 2-for-4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He went on to hit his 19th and 20th home runs of the season for Baltimore. And then for the New York Yankees, the start was given to Nestor Cortes Jr. Cortes Jr. allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 6.1 innings pitched as he struck out 11. The win was given to the Yankees' second relief pitcher on the day, Wandy Peralta. Peralta would allow no earned runs in .1 inning pitch as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's 5-3 on the year. The save would go to the Yankees' closer, Aroldis Chapman. He allowed no earned runs in the ninth inning as he struck out 2. In the Yankees' batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Gleyber Torres, went 2-for-3 with a run. And their center fielder, Brett Gardner, would go 3-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run for himself. With this win, the New York Yankees are now 82-64. That is the second best record in the American League East, as they are tied with the Toronto Blue Jays. They've won their last 3 games, and they've won 4 of their last 10. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 8 games in the division at the moment. And right now they're holding on to that top American League wildcard spot, as they and the Blue Jays, having the same record, are holding those 2 spots at the moment. And because the Red Sox have 1 more win and 1 more loss than those 2 teams, the Red Sox are the first team on the outside looking in, but they don't trail by any games. That's how close the American League wild card is, and the Yankees are at the top of that. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are 46-99. That is the worst record in the American League East and the worst record in all of baseball. I mean, that would happen if the other 4 teams in your division are competing for a playoff seed. The Orioles would end up losing their last 5 games, and they lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 43.5 games in the division, and they are one of 3 teams in the American League who have been eliminated from playoff contention, alongside the Texas Rangers and the Minnesota Twins. Jumping out to Queens, the New York Mets hosted the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals were able to continue their winning streak to beat the Mets 11-4 after scoring 5 runs in the first inning. For the New York Mets, the start was given to the loss was given to their starting pitcher, Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill would allow 6 earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, Tyler McGill is 3-5. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder, Kevin Pillar, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. Their elite first baseman, Pete Alonso, went 1-for-5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 33rd home run of the season. Kevin Pillar hit his 15th home run of the season. And also for the Mets, their left fielder, Jeff McNeil, went 3-for-4 with 2 runs. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Jon Lester. Lester allowed 3 runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. With this win, Jon Lester is 6-6. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy Edman, went 2-for-4 with 2 runs. Their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs as Goldschmidt hit his 26th home run of the year. Their left fielder, Tyler O'Neill, would end up going 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 32nd home run of the year. Their shortstop, Edmundo Sosa, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 6th home run of the season. And then their center fielder, Harrison Bader, went 2-for-5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 12th home run of the season. With this win, the St. Louis Cardinals are 76-69. That is the second best record in the National League Central, as they've won their last 5 games, which is the second best winning streak in baseball at the moment, as they trail the LA Dodgers. And they've also won 7 of their last 10 games. They trailed the Milwaukee Brewers by 12.5 games in the division, and right now they're holding on to that second National League wildcard spot, sitting 17 games behind the first place LA Dodgers, who have already clinched a playoff spot, and they are sitting 1 game ahead of the San Diego Padres, who are the first team on the outside looking in, as all these teams are only competing for second place, as the Dodgers and the Giants clinching the playoffs means that there's only 1 more playoff spot left up for grabs. With this loss, the New York Mets are now 72-75. That is the third best record in the National League East, as they've lost their last 3 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They trailed the Atlanta Braves by 5.5 games in the division, and they trailed the St. Louis Cardinals by 5 games for that second National League wildcard spot, as at the moment they are the 4th team on the outside of the picture looking in, trailing the San Diego Padres, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Philadelphia Phillies. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves hosted the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies were able to beat the Braves 3-2 in extra innings. It would end up being a RBI single from Raimel Tapia that would give the Rockies their 68th win of the season. For the Atlanta Braves, the start would go to Huascar Ynoa. He allowed 2 earned runs off of 4 hits and 4.2 innings pitched. He would strike out 8 on the day. The loss for the Braves, however, would go to their closer, A.J. Minter. Minter would allow 1 run in the 10th inning, and with this loss, he's 2-6. In the Braves batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, went 2 for 4. Their third baseman, Austin Riley, went 2 for 5 for himself. And their left fielder, Eddie Rosario, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 11th home run of the season. For the Colorado Rockies, the start went to Antonio Senzatella. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 7 hits and 6 innings pitched as he struck out 7. The win would end up going to the Rockies setup relief pitcher, Carlos Estevez. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. With his win, he's now 3-4. The save would end up going to the Rockies closer for the day, Robert Stevenson. Stevenson allowed no earned runs in the 10th as he struck out 2. He would pick up his first save of the year. And Carlos Estevez, with his win, is now 3-4. In the Rockies batting lineup, nobody on the team had more than 1 hit. And that would be attributed to great pitching for the Atlanta Braves. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 68-78. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've won their last 3 games. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 27 games in the division, just to get a sense of where they are. With this loss, the Atlanta Braves are now 76-68. That is still the best record in the National League East as they've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They sit 3.5 games ahead of the second-place Philadelphia Phillies in their division, and right now they're holding on to that 3rd seed in the National League playoff picture, sitting behind the 1st seed San Francisco Giants out west, and they're sitting behind the 2nd seed Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently leading the Central. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Cleveland Indians. The Indians would pull away with a 12-3 win after scoring 4 runs in the 5th and 5 runs in the 7th. For the Minnesota Twins in this matchup, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Griffin Jax. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's 3-4 on the year. In the Twins batting lineup, their first baseman, Miguel Sano, went 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 28th home run of the year. For the Cleveland Indians, the win went to their starting pitcher, Cal Quantrill. He allowed 3 runs in 6.2 innings pitched as he struck out 4. With his win, he's now 6-3 on the year. In the Indians batting lineup, their center fielder, Miles Straw, went 3 for 5 with 2 runs. Their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Also, their designated hitter, Franmil Reyes, went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Franmil Reyes would hit his 29th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Bobby Bradley, would end up going 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 13th home run of the season. With this win, the Cleveland Indians are now 71-73. That is the 2nd best record in the American League Central. They have now won 3 of their last 10 games as they sit 11.5 games behind the division-leading Chicago White Sox. And with this loss, the Minnesota Twins are now 64-83. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games as they trail the Chicago White Sox by 20 games in the division. At the moment, they are one of 3 teams who have been eliminated from American League playoff contention alongside the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles. Jumping out to Dallas, the Texas Rangers hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros would end up beating the Rangers 7-2 to pick up their 85th win of the season. For the Texas Rangers, the loss was given to their starting pitcher, Kohei Arihara. Kohei Arihara would allow 6 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 2-4. In the Rangers batting lineup, their designated hitter, Willie Calhoun, went 2 for 4 with a run. For the Houston Astros, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Jose Urquidy. He would allow 1 earned run off of 2 hits and 6 innings pitched as he struck out 6. With this win, Urquidy is 7-3 on the year. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 2 for 5 with a run. Their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, would go 2 for 4 with a run for himself. Their right fielder, Kyle Tucker, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs as he hit his 26th home run of the year. Their center fielder, Jake Myers, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the year. With this win, the Houston Astros are 85-60. That is the best record in the American League West, as they now sit 7 games ahead of the second-place Oakland Athletics. They are also holding on to that second American League playoff picture. They're holding on to that second spot in the American League playoff picture as they sit behind the first seed Tampa Bay Rays. And they also sit ahead of the third seed Chicago White Sox of the Central. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 54-91. That is the worst record in the division, as they've only lost 3 of their last 10 games. The Rangers now trail the Astros by 31 games in the division, and at this moment, the Rangers are one of 3 teams who have been eliminated from American League playoff contention, alongside the Orioles and the Twins as of right now. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Oakland Athletics. The Athletics were able to pull away with a 12-10 win, despite the Royals scoring their final 5 runs of the game after the A's scored their 12th run. For the Royals in this matchup, the loss will go to their starting pitcher, Carlos Hernandez. Hernandez would allow 7 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's 6-2. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite catcher, Salvador Perez, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 44th home run of the year. Their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, would go 5 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run. He would go on to hit 5 singles on the day. Their first baseman, Carlos Santana, went 2 for 4. Their right fielder, Hunter Dozier, went 2 for 4 with a run. Their third baseman, Hanser Alberto, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. And then, of course, their center fielder, Hector Olivares, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. For the Oakland Athletics, the win went to their starting pitcher, Sean Manaea. He allowed 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 3. With this win, he's now 10-9 on the year. The save would end up going to the A's closer for the day, Andrew Chafin. Chafin allowed 1 earned run in 1.1 innings pitched. He would finish the 8th and 9th innings, striking out a batter. In the A's batting lineup, their third baseman, Josh Harrison, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their center fielder, Starling Marte, went 2 for 6 with an RBI and a run. Their all-star first baseman, Matt Olson, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 35th home run of the season. Their left fielder, Mark Canha, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their right fielder, Seth Brown, went 2 for 4 with a run. And their second baseman, Tony Kemp, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Also, their shortstop, Elvis Andrus, went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are now 78-67. That is the second best record in the American League West. They've won 4 of their last 10 games as they trail the Houston Astros by 7 games in the division. Right now, they trail the Toronto Blue Jays by 3.5 games for that second American League wildcard spot, as the A's are the second team on the outside looking in, as they also trail the Boston Red Sox in that race as well. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 66-79. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've only lost 4 of their last 10 as they sit 17 games behind the Chicago White Sox. The Kansas City Royals are possibly a couple days away from being eliminated from playoff contention as well. Jumping out to Chicago, the Chicago White Sox hosted the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels would end up beating the White Sox 3-2 as they would end up breaking this tie in the top of the 8th inning thanks to a solo home run from the Beard, Brandon Marsh. For the Chicago White Sox in this matchup, the start went to their elite starting pitcher, Dallas Keuchel. He allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings as he struck out 3 batters on the day. The loss for the White Sox would go to their first relief pitcher, Michael Kopech. Kopech would allow 1 earned run in 2 innings pitched as he struck out 3. With this loss, he's 4-3 on the year. In the White Sox batting lineup, their third baseman, Yoan Moncada, will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He hit his 12th home run of the season yesterday as he was the only player with more than 1 hit. For the Los Angeles Angels, the start was given to their starting pitcher for the day, Jansen Junk. Junk allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits and 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win was given to the Angels' third relief pitcher on the day, Mike Mayers, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitch, striking out all 3 of the batters he needed to get out. With this win, he's now 5-5 on the season. The save would end up going to the Angels' closer, Raisel Iglesias, as he allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning pitched, striking out 2. With this save, Iglesias now has 32 on the year. In the Angels batting lineup, their center fielder Brandon Marsh went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. With this win, he now has 2 on the season. With this win, the Los Angeles Angels are now 71-74. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've won 4 of their last 10 games as they sit 14 games behind the Houston Astros in the division. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are now 83-62. That is the best record in the American League Central as they've lost 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 11 and a half games ahead of the second place Cleveland Indians in the division, as they are holding on to the third seed in the American League playoff picture, sitting behind the first seed Tampa Bay Rays and sitting behind the second seed Houston Astros at the moment. Jumping out to San Francisco, the San Francisco Giants hosted the San Francisco Giants, the holders of the league's best record. I feel like that's worth mentioning. They hosted the San Diego Padres. The Padres would end up beating the Giants 9-6, as this game would go from beginning to end. The Padres would start out with the lead, the Giants just were never able to overcome the Padres' lead for the game. That's how I describe this game. For the Giants, the loss would go to their starting pitcher, Dominic Leone. He would allow 2 earned runs and struck out one batter before getting pulled in the first inning. With this loss, he's now 3-4. In the Giants batting lineup, their first baseman, Brandon Belt, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Belt would hit his 25th home run of the season. He was the only player in the game that had more than 1 hit. Also alongside him, their elite left fielder, Chris Bryant, went 1 for 2 with an RBI and a run. Chris Bryant would hit his 25th home run of the season as well. For the San Diego Padres, the win went to their starting pitcher, Joe Musgrove. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, striking out 4. With this win, he's now 11-9 on the year. And then in their batting lineup, their right fielder, Jurickson Profar, would go 2 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would hit his 4th home run of the season. Additionally, their elite shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., would go 4 for 5 with 2 runs on the day. Their elite third baseman, Manny Machado, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Also, their all-star second baseman Adam Frazier went 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run, and their catcher Austin Nola went 2 for 5 with a run. With this win, the San Diego Padres are 75-70. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West, as they've won 4 of their last 10. They sit 19 and a half games behind the San Francisco Giants in the division, and right now they're sitting 1 game behind the St. Louis Cardinals for that second National League wildcard spot, as the Padres are the first team on the outside of the picture looking in. With this loss, the San Francisco Giants are now 95-51. That is the best record in the National League West in all of baseball, just barely. They've only lost 1 of their last 9 games, as they now sit a game and a half ahead of the second place LA Dodgers in their division, comfortably with the playoff spot, I might add. At the same time, they're holding on to the number 1 seed in the National League playoff picture, as they sit ahead of the second seed Milwaukee Brewers leading the Central, and they sit ahead of the third seed Atlanta Braves leading the East. Jumping out to Los Angeles for the final game of the MLB last night, the reigning World Series champs LA Dodgers hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers were able to beat the Diamondbacks 5-3 to give the Diamondbacks their 99th loss of the season. They're one of 2 teams that picked up their 99th loss of the season yesterday. And then for the Diamondbacks in this matchup, the loss will go to their starting pitcher, Merrill Kelly. He allowed 4 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With his loss, he's 7-10. In the Arizona Diamondbacks batting lineup, their first baseman, Christian Walker, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the season. And then for the LA Dodgers, the start was given to their starting pitcher, Julio Urias. Their golden boy allowed 2 earned runs and 3 hits in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Julio Urias is 18-3 on the season. The save would end up going to the Dodgers closer, Kenley Jansen. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, striking out all 3 of the batters he faced. With this save, he now has 33 on the year. And in the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts would go 2 for 5. Their all-star first baseman Max Muncy went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 34th home run of the year. Their all-star third baseman Justin Turner went 3 for 4 with 2 runs for himself. Their catcher Will Smith went 2 for 3 with a run. Also, their left fielder Gavin Lux went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the LA Dodgers are now 94-53. That is the 2nd best record in the National League West. They've won their last 6 games. That is the longest winning streak in baseball at the moment. They have won 8 of their last 10 games, and they now sit a game and a half behind the San Francisco Giants in the division. They are also holding on to that first National League wildcard spot. They clinched it, by the way. They've clinched one of the wildcard spots, and they currently sit 17 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals within the wildcard race. that is what the MLB is looking like yesterday. Taking a look at the matchups going into today. Today is Thursday. It is a travel day, so you will see earlier games. At 12:20, Ian Anderson and the Atlanta Braves are going to host German Marquez and the Colorado Rockies. Marquez enters his matchup with a 12-10 record, holding a 3.93 ERA. Ian Anderson enters his matchup with a 7-5 record, holding a 3.61 ERA. At 12:35, Tyler Mahle and the Cincinnati Reds are going to host Connor Overton and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mahle enters his matchup with an 11-5 record, holding a 3.73 ERA. At 2:10, Reynaldo Lopez and the Chicago White Sox are going to host Alex Cobb and the Los Angeles Angels. Alex Cobb enters his matchup with a 7-3 record, holding a 3.82 ERA. And Reynaldo Lopez enters this matchup with a 3-2 record, holding a 2.05 ERA. At 2:10 on ESPN Plus, Daniel Lynch and the Kansas City Royals are going to host Paul Blackburn and the Oakland Athletics. At 3:45, Kevin Gausman and the MLB leading San Francisco Giants are going to host Pierce Johnson and the San Diego Padres. Pierce Johnson enters his matchup with a 3-3 record, holding a 2.98 ERA. Kevin Gausman takes his home mound with a 14-5 record, holding a 2.65 ERA. At 5:05, Chris Ellis and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Jordan Montgomery and the New York Yankees. Jordan Montgomery enters his matchup with a 5-6 record, holding a 3.71 ERA. At 6:05, the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs. Kyle Hendricks enters his matchup with a 14-6 record, holding a 4.54 ERA. At 7:10, Lewis Head and the Tampa Bay Rays are going to host Tyler Alexander and the Detroit Tigers. And then last but not least, at 8:05, Glenn Otto and the Texas Rangers are going to host Framber Valdez and the Houston Astros. Framber Valdez enters his matchup with a 10-5 record, holding a 3.26 ERA. So, of course, that is what that season is looking like. And with that said, I think that's virtually everything that happened from yesterday, Wednesday, September 15th, 2021. And of course, once all of today's matchups are done, I will come back with another episode of The Elite. So until then, I want to thank everyone once again. I want to thank the MLB, FIFA, and the NFL websites for giving me what I needed for this episode. I also want to apologize for all the names that I butchered up, and I do plan on eventually getting them right. And with that said, with all that said, once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Friday, September 17th for another episode of The Elite. So until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow.